Up in the morning, it's on the downs.
Good morning. If it's 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, it must be time for This Week in Waukesha here on Walk Radio, 540 AM, 101.1 FM. The Shaw. And that was Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds singing Breathless. And the reason I'm playing it is because on the first episode of Season 3 in Peaky Blinders, this is a song that plays during the wedding scene. Very powerful. And for any of you Peaky Blinders fans, the show's going to be back on Netflix. It's going to be, I think it's starting on the BBC today, so I'm anxiously awaiting that. So very important to Waukesha life and culture, I'm sure. But, hey, we got a really special day today. I have a studio filled with so many friends from the neighborhood, from the original District 1. Big shout out to Bob Hedera, Carrie and Bernadette Chapman, Sharon Valley, so many other great neighbors. Really glad you're here. Mayoral candidate Lisa Salb is actually here too, wishing us well, and glad to see her. And she was our guest last week. And that reminds me, her opponent, incumbent Mayor Sean Riley, will be our guest next Saturday at 10 a.m. So don't miss that. And today's guest, sitting right in front of me, is my likely future successor. His name is Mike Krazine, and I pronounced that correctly, right?
Yeah, Mike Krazine, pretty good.
Yep.
Yes.
So Mike's going to talk about why he feels he is able and ready, and he certainly has my support to fill the new District 1. And really glad to have him here and giving everyone an opportunity to learn more about Mike. First, some news. This week, some people in my district, or in the original District 1, suffered some disruptions in garbage. And Public Works said it had a lot to do with the ice on Tuesday. And the garbage finally did get picked up along with the recycling. But we are aware of it, and it's something, again, we'll be talking to Mike about that, because now that'll be his one of his challenges as an alderman will be. I hand those phone calls over to you, Mike. But it's something we as a city have benefited tremendously over the last decade from quality service. And then when there was a change in ownership, and then, of course, the labor shortage due to, I guess, the COVID crisis, garbage has been a big issue. The last few months have actually been fine, but, every few weeks or so, or every few months, that kind of creeps up. So something that, is disconcerting to us, and hopefully we can get some closure on soon. So, anyway, you know what? There's a lot of great news to talk about here in Waukesha, but I want, again, because I'm so grateful to have so many neighbors here, let's just start with Mike, because they're here to meet him and, say goodbye to me. But it's not goodbye. It's just bye for now, and see you at the next neighborhood picnic or gathering, or maybe we'll get a softball game together when the snow melts. So Mike, tell us about yourself.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I've been in Waukesha over half my adult life. I live on what I consider the north end of Waukesha, but it's really not really the extreme north end. But our backyard is Pewaukee, and that kind of makes it kind of unique. That's where all the city sewers and the city sanitary sewers kind of end, and it's just kind of an interesting neighborhood. We have 3 parks in our neighborhood, and that's kind of nice. Like I say, I've graduated Economowoc sometime in the 1980s.
A raccoon.
And went to WCTC right afterwards. I got 2 degrees from there. Shortly thereafter, I met my wife. We couldn't decide where we wanted to live, whether it was in the Milwaukee area, it was in the Oconomowoc area, and we were driving down Highway 18 at the time, and there was a guy planting a sign in that said, "For sale by owner." And we're not going to go look at this house. What house is this? The next thing I know, that was, I think, 24 years ago, something like that. A guy built a brand new home and got transferred, so we've been in that area ever since.
Sure.
I got 3 kids. They've all 3 of my children have gone all the way, kindergarten, K3, all the way up in the school system here.
What schools are they at now, or do they already graduate?
Right now, well, they're all in all different schools.
Okay.
I have one at Waukesha Catholic.
Okay.
We'll be moving over to CMH shortly.
Okay.
My middle one's at CMH.
Okay.
The oldest one went through CMH, graduated CMH, and now he's at WCTC.
Nice.
Right now.
Terrific. Thanks. Yeah, and Mike is also professionally, he works as a maintenance manager or supervisor for Salvation Army. He also teaches at WCTC, where he earned degrees in criminal justice / poli-sci and automotive servicing. So a lot like me in the fact that, I was always interested in, I studied political science in college, and I grew up in the auto dealer business. My father was a general manager for car dealers for over 30 years, but you wouldn't even ask me to do an oil change, that's for sure. So, but Mike also did some education at National Camp School and with the Northwest Energy Efficiency Council, where he is a BOCII, and let me know if I'm describing this wrong, Building Operations Certification Level 2. And so someone who's really taken advantage of a lot of great local resources and career-related resources to learn a thing or two.
Yeah, through Wisconsin Focus on Energy and We Energies, there's all kinds of programs from an industrial setting, business setting, private setting, and even homeowners. It's just the tools that are out there are incredible, not only about efficiencies, but new efficiencies that come out and how they can actually affordably get them to your home or your business or your not-for-profit. And the schooling on the private side of things is free. On the business side of things, it's very affordable. And that's where I got a lot of ideas on saving energy, saving water, practical solar applications, practical wind applications. It's kind of rough in our neighborhood only because it's dark a lot, and when it's windy at the wrong times. But it's still, the technology is out there. People just have to go check it out. So I'm not advocating, or that advocating is not the right word, but the resources are there. Just go check them out. Even on the Wisconsin Focus on Energy side of things, again, I don't work for them. It's just programs that no one knows about. Go on We Energy's website. They'll send you a box of LED light bulbs, low-flow shower head, and even the city of Waukesha has, if you have some older toilets, they'll give you $100 towards a new toilet. So, like I say, this is unscripted, so...
that should get more play, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. So, hey, and Mike, many of you don't know, is also certified on LinkedIn in the field of making great first impressions. I thought that was wonderful. Tell us about that.
Well, I didn't even know that was a thing, but someone must have put me down for that. One of my employers I worked at a local factory for 22 years, and we had a big marketing campaign on get on LinkedIn, get out there, get you out there, get us out there. And LinkedIn in its early stages was all about just trying to get as many members out there as possible. And now LinkedIn is really neat. People that I worked with a while ago can reconnect and also help me get my new career at the Salvation Army. I'm not sure if I can even mention where I work, but anyways, it's a local not-for-profit, and that's actually someone suggested it, say, hey, we could really use you over here to think about all the things, your certifications and whatnot, and let's see if you can help us out. So first impressions can go either way, but biggest thing is just be yourself, be natural, and people will see that, flaws and all.
That's great. Thanks. Yeah, LinkedIn's a powerful resource. And, there's a Wisconsin story to LinkedIn that most people don't know about, is that, originally it started out as a recruiting site for headhunters and whatnot. And a local accountant, Wayne, I should know his last name, but he's a legend. Wayne, what's his last name, Mary Jane?
Breitbart.
Wayne Breitbart, yes. His company was struggling. They were selling commercial rental, like office furniture. And he went on LinkedIn and taught himself how to network on there, because no one had really been doing it in that capacity as for business development. And he increased the company's sales by like $250,000, something like a ridiculous amount in like a very short period of time. And then he became the guru on how should we say it, on how to network on LinkedIn. And so it's neat. We'll have to have him on the show sometime, because he does a lot of volunteer work at churches and other groups, helping people find jobs using LinkedIn. So. But I digress. Jason, how are we doing on time?
Oh, we're doing great. We got about 3 minutes to break here.
Fantastic. So, hey, quick question for Mike. So for a long time, as soon as you could pull papers, no one had no one had pulled papers. And then a few days after Christmas, I get a call from you.
Yeah.
That you want to do it, and was really excited to hear from you. What prompted you to run?
Well, literally, someone said, hey, there's with the redistricting, no one's running, no one is signed up for, and we were out shoveling snow one day, and in our little cul-de-sac, we take turns kind of helping each other shovel snow and take care of the driveways, clear snow, and someone said, hey, we still don't have an alderman. You know, Don can't run because he's not in our district anymore. He may still run in the future. So I was like, yeah, let's talk to Don and see what's going on. And I talked to my wife, and she said, talk to Don. If Don gives it thumbs up, then it's a go. So it's kind of funny. I asked my wife first, and she said, talk to Don. Like, I have no...
Wow. Talk to the Don.
Yeah, I'm not an elected official. I've never done anything like this before, and that's basically, it went from a 1-minute phone call to about an hour phone call.
Yeah, that was a great, and really glad to hear from you.
So it started shoveling snow and like, hey, let's find out if someone can run for our district.
Terrific. Hey, and speaking of Don's, I received the blessing, and Jason can vouch for this, I received the blessing from Walk Radio that, and for the benefit of your neighbors here, you're sitting in the future office of former Alderman Don Browne, which will be made official, I guess, after April 5th. So you're sitting in the Mar-a-Lago of the Midwest, and I'm sure you can all agree this is much more luxurious and recreational setting than our former president has down there, down south. We don't have to worry about hurricanes or those types of things up here, do we? So, but
we just have squall warning.
That's terrific. So you see some people here, and a big concern is with the redistricting is, we made some efforts together to build a more connected neighborhood and community, and now that the district is split right down Wolf Road, what are your plans to kind of keep this neighborhood connected?
Well, it's just like how I met you. It came from a name to actual face. It's just meet people in the park. Like I say, we got a couple parks in our neighborhood, and just whether it's quarterly or more so in the summertime, just get out. We're grilling out at Piedmont. And I'll have food, I'll have beverages, and just if you want to come out and talk about something, just basically make yourself available. And that's how I met you. And I don't know where those little sausages came from, but man, the flavor was this big, but yet they were that big. They were that was really good.
Classic. Oh, glad you remember that. So, well, good. Well, we're going to go to a break here, but stick around for more with First District Alderman candidate Mike Razine, and hopefully we'll get a chance to say hi to some of my neighbors here, too. So we'll be back in a little bit.
Breathless without you, and the fox chases the rabbit around, and the rabbit hides beneath the ground. For he is defenseless without you. The sky of daytime dies away.
Let's drink to the hard-working people. Let's drink to the lonely of birth. Raise your glass to the good and the evil. Let's drink to the salt of the earth. Say a prayer for the calm.
And we're back this week in Waukesha. And we're drinking to the salt of the earth, the hardworking people of District 1, and now the borderland area of District 2. And but before we return with Mike, just a few announcements here. A lot going on next weekend here in downtown. There's the Vintage Shop Hop, which is actually kind of a statewide road trip through Illinois and Wisconsin. And Burlap and Lace Marketplace is one of those stops, featuring over 80 artisans specializing in repurposed, upcycled, handcrafted, and vintage finds. So come enjoy that. And then after that, there will be the Get Lucky Waukesha Art Crawl that will, again, after the Vintage Shop Hop, you can join them. It's the 119th Art Crawl, and it's going to go from 4 to 9 p.m. To learn more about that, go to waukeshaart.com. So put that on your calendar. And then also, Thursday, March 3rd, the second meeting of the Parade Memorial Commission will convene at City Hall Council Chambers. And at this meeting, the public is invited and allowed to give public comment. So I encourage any of you involved with that to stop by. And then also, too, just in case, if there are any victims of the Waukesha Christmas Parade attack that have not applied for relief from the United for Waukesha Community Fund victim resources. You still can, but the deadline is this Monday, February 28th. So if that applies to you, go to waukeshafoundation.org to learn more. So lots going on, and I'll have a few more announcements and news around the community. But first, now we're going to come back to Mike Krazine. And one of the neighbors had a good question for Mike, a hard-hitting question, and I wouldn't expect anything less from my good friend Carrie Chapman. What are you going to do about lowering taxes or controlling the increases in taxes and our cost of living here in Waukesha?
Well, I'm just getting up to speed right now. I've only gone to since I've been here over 20 years, I've probably only been to 2 or 3 Common Council meetings, so I'm still finding my way on what I actually can do and what maximum I can do. And I don't even want to say what the minimum I can do, but I don't know what my range is. Basically, just vote to keep taxes lower and make it safer for my neighbors and our community overall.
Sounds great.
I know that sounds like a wishy-washy answer, but I can't.
I know, but I think there may be one tool that the city and maybe the city leadership don't know about is that Mike is an archery instructor for the Girl Scouts. Could that come into play in your future political life?
Well, only once I acquire a target, I'm going to stay focused on that. But that's an old resume. I'm an archery instructor for USA Archery, which means I can. I'm qualified to run everything up all the way to the Olympics. That's a level 3 archery instructor.
Wow.
I'm a level 2, so
okay.
I'm not at Olympic level yet. But
Sure.
it is also
but still a threat.
Well, yeah.
To the forces of evil.
Yes, and defender of justice everywhere. Also,
there you go.
Instructor for Cub Scouts.
I was going to ask,
yeah.
how come you're not teaching the boys? What's going on? Are they just not as responsible with the bow and arrow? Or?
Actually, a range full of females ages 8 to 17 are a lot more patient and listen to instructions versus young men from ages 8 to 17. They will listen to instructions but don't adhere to them as long. So it's kind of interesting about the focus. And
okay,
you would think they'd all be focused the same with the bow in the hand, but it's females are more focused on. This is my experience,
sure.
Not a textbook answer, but experienced
right.
on the range. They adapt faster and can acquire that target and get more bullseyes.
Sure. Well, good. Excellent. So now back to more serious stuff. One of my really good neighbors sent me a great email yesterday that we have a few neighbors, and this is not now in the borderland district too, but I'm sure it applies. Some new neighbors have come in and maybe not be as familiar with some of the what their obligations are when we have a snowfall. Hopefully this will be, we won't have that problem, but Wisconsin weather, even though it's a gorgeous day today, but just letting everyone know that you are responsible for shoveling your sidewalk in front of your house. And if you have one of those corner locations, unfortunately you have to go all the way around, but also putting salt down, especially because we are close to Banting and Horning schools, that's very essential. But again, that's a big part of your job, and I believe it's the most important part of the job is getting those calls from the neighbors that are legitimately upset about those things like that, and
don't blow if you got a powerful snowblower, don't blast it all the way to that yellow line that's in there. Particularly once the plows go down and throw the salt down, it starts working. And then when you have those powerful snow blowers, blast it in the street. Now that's basically crystallizing the ice and the snow that the salt just put down, and it makes a nasty thing, particularly if the sun never gets on it.
Yep.
So don't blow into the street.
Sounds great. So, what are some of the other continuous improvement opportunities you recognize, especially in the neighborhood there, you think that the city could do a better job or pay more attention to that maybe I've overlooked?
A lot of it, again, is just communication. A lot of people don't realize that they do have a voice. You can call the mayor's office. The mayor does want to hear from you. Your aldermen and other people in your district do want to hear from you. But unless you say something, they don't know what your needs are, what your opinions are, and even your demands.
Sure.
As citizens of the city of Waukesha, go back to, what is that, 9th grade, wants versus needs. We can apply that right here in the city. So number one is just find out who's in your district and know you have the opportunity to call the city and let your voices know. If you have a pothole or sidewalk or some other problems, call. The city, maybe a long time ago used to have people just driving around looking for cracks and potholes everywhere, but now the city relies on basically the eyes and ears of the neighbors finding what is out there and what could be improved, whether it's trees that are wrapped around an electrical wire or your telephone wire. Call your utilities and say, hey, I got this tree that is totally surrounded this telephone pole or telephone line.
Okay. Well, with that Rolling Stones classic jumping in, I guess that's time to go for a break. So I kind of took my eye off the ball there, but stick around. We got more with First District Alderman candidate Mike Krazine, as well as some more great things going on here in Waukesha. Thanks. And we're back. Welcome back. This week in Waukesha, and it is one world in the original District 1 of Waukesha, where Mike Krazine is here to tell us that politicians and dictators and the guys with the dough, they think they run the world, but they just don't know that our neighborhood, our community has it under control. And Mike's here to tell us much more about that. Mike, what's your first... I know you had a briefing, I think, with the mayor and the city administrator, because I think they're anticipating you're going to be the alderman, unless a write-in candidate from out of nowhere comes in, but highly unlikely. What is your your big, hairy, audacious goal that you'd love to? What's the first thing you'd love to do as alderman, or the big, what you'd really love to achieve for our city and for our neighborhood?
Number one is just communication. I've already started email. That's not a city email. Once I'm officially elected and sworn in, then I can have access to the city email so the population and my neighbors can get a hold of me. But I've already started a Gmail account so people can get a hold of me. But
what's that Gmail account again? Let everyone know.
I didn't write it down, and
I just started it. Okay.
I think it's, what is yours? But
mine is district1waukesha@gmail.com, and that one is the number one.
Yeah, well, mine is the same.
Yeah, so
I took yours, but I made it Gmail.
Well, mine is Gmail.
Oh, then I made it at yahoo.com.
Okay. So district1waukesha@yahoo.com, and that's how you'll be able to get a hold of your new alderman, whether you're a resident of District 1 or not.
Yeah, to further that is basically my phone number will be out there, and I'm going to start, I'm not on Facebook very often, but I'm going to start a Facebook page or link. I think that's what they call that. And then there's also the neighborhood one. What is that called? Neighborhood linked link?
Oh, Nextdoor?
Nextdoor,
Nextdoor's good at, yep.
But that is a good one as well, and that's how we kept in
I call that the missing cat app. It's like every other post on there is a missing cat.
Yeah.
And but happy to see most of them are recovered and found and returned safely. But
what I was talking about earlier is just, the city of Waukesha's got a great website. Waukesha County's got a great website, and the city's actually easier to navigate. The Waukesha County one just totally redid it, and I can't find anything on it. The city one is easy to navigate as far as who to contact, how to contact, and where to contact them from. But it's kind of, in today's information age, everyone's got an email and a phone number and a cell phone, but somehow it's like the art of communication has lost. It's like people don't take the time to, in telling your neighbors, telling your kids, I hate this when this happens. I hate that when this happens. Hate's not the right word, but it upsets me when this doesn't happen. Well, just don't tell your neighbors. Tell your elected representatives so they can do something about it. At least if they can't do anything about it, they're at least aware of it.
Sure.
So back to the communication things, and that's one of the things I wish to continue on the Lost Cat app. I love how you said that. That's great.
Sounds great. Well, terrific. And so as you mentioned, you've put children through the in the Catholic Memorial. So you're a patriot of the Crusader program. But as alderman, I kind of declared District 1 as Waukesha South Country, and lately the mock trial team is going to state competition for the second year in a row, defending its state title. So best of luck to Libby Miller and her team, Coach Libby Miller. The wrestling team sent two of their wrestlers to state competition. Junior Jimmy Wallenberg, 120 pounds, and senior Isaiah Balderas at 195 pounds. So congratulations to those two young men and to the program on another great season. The varsity dance team finished 7th for Palms, and varsity cheerleading also went to state, in state competition for both. And our beloved varsity men's basketball team, again, won the Classic 8 Conference Championship, are still ranked in the top 10 in the state. And so the question is how do you plan to celebrate the success of Waukesha South athletics and our other schools?
Well, it just started with all that great statistics because I can help celebrate it and relish it because I had not heard any of that. My son's on the CMH fencing team, and
cool.
It's not as competitive as it used to be. It's growing, just like any teams in high school sports. It ebbs and flows. I do know the football team is pretty. I think they won state the last several times.
Sure did. Congratulations on that, too.
And I know they do.
They had to leave the Classic 8 to do it, but they won state,
and
no doubt.
I think their female rugby team has done state the last couple of years, and the skiing team is very competitive. And they also have a high school shotgun team, which is a lot of fun.
And I will. The nice thing about, and I'm one of those public school Catholics, so I always kind of had this grudge against the Catholic school teams. But Catholic Waukesha Memorial does draw. It's a legacy school that draws young men and women from outside of Waukesha and from around the area, and it's something we'd love to see more businesses and other organizations making Waukesha a destination. And what ideas do you have for that, or how do you plan on contributing towards that end about bringing more business and more visitors to Waukesha?
I am pro-business. One, it's where our youth and where our adults can go to work and helps with our tax base, but it's something else. It's also something to be proud of. It's like, hey, that component on that radio or that component from this light bulb or this carpet that was made in Waukesha. We made the component, we sent it to the factory, and it was turned into something. That great pride is slowly being lost as a lot of our buildings knocked down. Waukesha Foundry that had to have been well over 100 years that fed International Motors engine division, and when they closed the International Motors division in Chicago, they didn't need to have their castings. So that is what's happening. But as far as what's going, I've been talking to a lot of the businesses and just, I'm pro-business. What do you need? And a lot of them I've talked to said, well, a lot of it just starts with something simple like our employees have no place to park because the street is all no parking. Let's make it no parking. And some of the places that I've talked to that had a hard time with getting their raw materials in, because of the no parking. They needed no parking so the semi-trucks can get down their road. So basically just
more pro-business friendly zoning type of
definitely, I don't know, the TIF districts are more so downtown. I don't know if the TIF districts in our neighborhood.
Before you leave, Mike, make sure you have a chat with Kerry Chapman because he's got some great ideas, and he's very upset about some of the big anchors that had been closed, or in his opinion had been forced to close in recent years, and so you guys should definitely have a dialogue. So in addition to the great turnout, we've got people that have been, I consider them my closest advisors and most proactive neighbors, and so Bob Hedera, Kerry Chapman, Sharon Valley, those are people. Please, even though Sharon's not in your district, definitely get her phone number and or her email and all that, and make sure you stay connected.
One of the things is people think like Janesville. Oh, it's when General Motors closed the Janesville plant. It's not just Janesville, our larger employers of Waukesha. It's also our smaller employers. It's our restaurants, it's our taverns, it's the local eateries. It's a place that takes care of your dog's hair, human hair. It's all those businesses. what makes up your city. You know, it's like obviously we're not a huge Ford or GM factory town, but it doesn't mean we can't support our local businesses and give them all the tools that they can do to survive, and just plain let them know, hey, we're out there. You know, if your favorite eatery closed, if your favorite place that took care of your dog's nails and hair closed, get the word out. There's other places around town. Just, communication. It's the key to everything.
Sounds great. Terrific. So we have 2 minutes, so I have time for a couple quick announcements here. Is that, speaking of Waukesha South, the Raise the Bar fundraiser for Waukesha South Athletics is Saturday, April 2nd, so mark your calendars. And then one of my favorite artistic ventures in this town is Waukesha North High School Marching Band, a great tradition of excellence there. Saturday, March 5th is their big fundraising dinner event. It's going to have live music, a silent auction, and raffles. And that's also at the Loft over on N7W23827 Blue Mound Road, across from the county airport, folks. That is next Saturday, March 5th. So, and I believe there may still be time to order tickets. Tickets are $25.
It's also known the Loft at Cedar Ridge. I got married there.
All right, there you go. So, fantastic. So, but yeah, Mike, I think we got 1 minute, but I know you're running unopposed, but are you doing any type of campaigning to get your name out there and let people know that you plan to stand for their district?
I was talking about it, and I live at a very busy, far too busy in my mind. Take Springdale, not Saratoga. Once again, take Springdale, not Saratoga. And when we were out there shoveling, I had all 4 neighbors say, "Get a sign, put it in my yard. Make it a big sign." It's like I didn't even think of that, but it's just basically get out and talk to the neighbors on. Just let them know, hopefully you're turning out on every election, whether it's the governor or the president, but for judges and local politics, local seats, get out and vote. And that's the biggest advice I can get to anybody is vote year-round. Well, not vote year-round, but please vote in every election, because your school board and your mayor and your aldermanic district and your county districts are just as important as the governor and president and senators.
Thank you for saying that.
It starts at the local level. It's not top down. It should be bottom up.
Sounds great. We're going to go to a break, but stick around. We have more with Mike Razine.
Politicians and dictators and the guys with the dough, they think they run the world, but they just don't know. Goes down here on the street, we got it under control. From Maryland to San Francisco, from New York to Tokyo. One world. Whoa, it's our world.
Alone, listless, breakfast table in an otherwise empty room. Young girl, violins.
Welcome back to This Week in Waukesha. We are back with our special guest, the new 1st District Aldermanic candidate, Mike Razine, and also welcome to the many neighbors that have shown up here today to wish me well, as well as get an opportunity to meet their new alderman, or for some of us, our alderman on the border, on the next district over, on the other side of Banting Park. Glad to have Mike here. And Mike, I do want to cause a little controversy here. So you're obviously your CMH father, Catholic Memorial, and Lisa Salb is here meeting some of the neighbors. She's running for mayor. Lisa is a Waukesha South family, and she was named a few years ago Mrs. Waukesha South. And Mayor Riley is a Catholic Memorial alumnus, and so will that cause some friction if Lisa wins the election and becomes the next mayor, or how do you handle that?
I have no problems with that. Bring on the conflict, because I'm all about conflict resolution within my boundaries. Waukesha is blessed to have 4 great high schools, and coming from children that went through CMH is kind of always like forgotten about, and actually some of the scholarships my son applied for said, "Oh, you went to CMH? Oh, we can't help you with that because there's only 3 high schools in Waukesha." Yes, that's right. He was told that. But it's, rivalry is fun, and it's what makes sports so competitive. Come on, we're facing West today, or come on, we're facing CMH today. It is all in good fun, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. But I didn't know I'm standing next to.
We just found out. Yeah, Lisa's got a photo of it, and
she's got a photo
and
of it.
Even her sash.
I just saw the sash.
She comes prepared.
Yeah,
so, and,
I brought a cup of water.
Some great displays of, and Mike, same thing. Even though he's a CMH dad, he's wearing a Waukesha South red collared shirt. So he's kind of he's showing that, like a good politician. He's showing the right colors here. But speaking of schools, and a school that doesn't get enough mention is La Casa de Esperanza is now enrolling students. K4 through 6th grade students for the 22-23 school year. Established in 2015, the charter school is currently enrolling K4 through 7th grade students as they continue to expand. Their full-service school features an extended school day, a dual language program in K4 through 2nd grade, and their new 7th grade expansion and English language instruction. It's a rigorous curriculum with year-round programming, a safe environment, character education, family involvement, and community partnerships. So definitely check out La Casa de Esperanza if you have children in that age group. And speaking of schools too, here, Mike, in our district, there's Banting Elementary and Horning Middle School right there in Banting Park. And me not being from Waukesha, like yourself, we're both transplants. It seems that there's the relationship between the city and our schools. It's either estranged or it could be tighter. And it was something that I've always tried to advocate for, is how can we partner more with the schools? And in Banting Park, the park belongs to the city, but the schools are in that property, and so they utilize our park space. And so, what would you do to engage more with the schools to develop a stronger partnership and where we can maximize resources for the benefit of our children?
It all starts with youth, and even know whether they've just moved here from out of state, out of county, or literally out of country, it's all about civic pride. Just find out, Waukesha's been here a long time, and we have a lot of resources, from our natural resources, our rivers, our lakes, and the streams, and basically all the parks that are around town. Basically give us some civic pride from the history, not only where we've gone, but also how you, as the youth in our neighborhoods, to make it a better future. I mean, it sounds like something right from a 9th grade civics class, but it's true. Unless students aren't taught that, they will have no idea, literally have no idea. So basically partner with the elementary school grade teachers and just let them know what's available, and just tell them how local civics work.
Sounds great. I appreciate that. And how do you, one of the questions when I was running for alderman, some of the other aldermen said, what have you learned about the other districts in the city, or what time have you taken to learn more about the city? And I lived here, good 8 or 9 years before I really made an effort to do that. But how well educated would you say are on our city's resources and what we have, and maybe what some of the other aldermanic districts look like?
Well, there is the city website. It's great with their city calendar, not only of where to vote, when to vote, and even how to vote. The city website's a great resource. I know there's the Waukesha Freeman, which is available online, and there's also the Waukesha Patch. And I wish my wife was here. She didn't want to attend here, but she also has a lot of neighborhood resources. Believe it or not, I think it's actually called Waukesha Moms. Just get together with Waukesha moms. It's like, one of the parade victims is having a rummage sale today. This isn't today, but this is an example of how to get the news out and spread the news of things on a local level that is happening.
Okay, so, well, that reminds me too. It brings up a good point. Is we live in a very polarizing world, and it's great that we have a very nonpartisan. I mean, by design. Our mayor's office and our city council are nonpartisan positions, and you've told me you're fiscally conservative, but you work for Salvation Army,
yes, and
so you have experiences kind of on, I hate to say both sides of the aisle, but you seem like you have a pretty well-rounded, well-balanced worldview. What do you feel you could do as alderman to kind of build more bridges among neighbors and build connectivity and find common grounds where we can work together?
basically
look after each other better.
Sorry to cut you off.
No,
basically find out what the needs of the community is, not just our in District 1 and our 4 wards, but chances are if we're having a problem in our neighborhoods, find out what else is happening in the city. Chances are if it's a problem on the southwest side, it's probably going to be a problem on the northeast side. Get together, it's like, oh, sure. No, that's a District 7 or District 6 problem. No, it's all of the city of Waukesha problem. Find out how we can meet the needs and get together and maybe come up with a common goal and fight together with whatever the problem is and find a solution to it, whether it's financially or just vote, something we can vote on or
sounds great.
Approve.
Cool, thank you. And then a question I'll ask everyone on the show is, because we're very much about supporting small business in this town, especially original Waukesha-born small businesses. Is there a small business you'd like to give a shout out to today, or that's a favorite business of any kind that you and your wife, your family, really feel grateful to have in your world?
Didn't know we like to eat at Tally's Tap on Sunset. When it's just my wife and I, we do Dave's, and it's just the old world. It's like, what do you mean? It's right out of the 1950s or 40s. It's like you go there, you can sit at the lunch counter, and you don't even look at the menu because sometimes they're inventing something. It's like, what's that? It's like, oh, that's something he gets. Oh, I'll eat that. So an old-fashioned lunch counter. But in my district, Albanese's is great, and that's another place my wife and I just like to go. Pretty much, I'm truly blessed with great places to get my oil changed and get my car fixed and car parts, all right in my own little neighborhood.
Fantastic. Well, good. Hey, before I forget, speaking of small businesses too, is that there's still some great sponsorship opportunities for this week in Waukesha, and that includes placement on some of the other Walk radio shows, and it's really a partnership to build a more connected community and really get our neighbors more involved and promote our businesses, large and small, that are Waukesha proud and strong. And so for more information on that, you can call me directly on my cell at 414-750-5902. That's 414-750-5902. So, Mike, Jason's telling me we're getting down to the last couple minutes here. What have I not asked, or what is there that you want the city of Waukesha, not just District 1, to know about what Mike Krazine is and what you feel you can bring to our city government?
Pretty much just I'm very passionate about my youth organizations that I volunteer at, my church that I volunteer at. Pretty much just, passion. Hopefully I can take some of that passion, find out what the neighborhood, my neighbors, what their needs are, and take that same passion and find out, is there a solution to that problem? Or you also have to realize sometimes when you're solving problems, when you're solving solutions, some of those solutions actually can create more problems. So it's actually talk about and find out what the next step is, whether it's, hey, we should add something in this area, but then is that going to make more problems for those neighbors in that area? So before we just jump into something and say we have to do this now, what are the repercussions of that? Are they all great? Or if it's 70% great and 30% not so great, then I think we're going to have to do the 70%.
Terrific. Well, Mike, I want to thank you for joining us today, and thank everyone for listening. I'll be heading over to Waukesha North, where my daughter's playing in their annual girls basketball tournament. So, hey, folks, join us next week for Mayor Sean Riley, and enjoy this beautiful weekend. Bye for now. And remember, safety is everyone's responsibility. Have a great day.